Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Sagittarius energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as High Vibe Sagittarius. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius. We all have our dualistic nature of free will, and some people could be battling within themselves. The bottom row can kind of represent our comfort zone, and we all kind of like to stay in our comfort zone, but we can all kind of want to move forward in life a little differently, change some habits, some vices. For other people it could be friendships, relationships, jobs. But we could have fear of stepping outside of our comfort zone, and we would have to work through these cards down here to kind of change maybe how we either heal or grow, or how we view ourselves, how we view the world, have more hope and faith and belief in ourselves or something in order to move forward differently. And so some people could be still debating within themselves. Other people didn't even have the debate. They're happy living their life the way they live it, and they have no interest maybe in doing life any differently. And they could be in more high vibrational relationships, and together with those people, they work through their fears and insecurities to keep moving forward in a more high vibrational relationship. And so at any given time in life, there's going to be people who work through some issues to move forward. Other people didn't move forward. We all move forward kind of at different times, either when we're motivated and inspired to, or something kind of forces us to. But the truth sets us free. We kind of have to authentically move forward differently than we did before. We have to see the truth of what we need to change or what needs to be let go of. And some people will never want to let go of certain things, and some people don't want to live their life ever any different. High vibe energy is like becoming more independent of your shadowy nature, your fearful nature, immature, codependent, more worldly, egoic, self-centered, whatever nature, to keep kind of growing and maturing yourself and to be more independent. That's kind of the reason for the top row's reading is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups. All these things in our life that throughout our life, we had all these lessons to learn, which is kind of what the Queen of Pentacles can talk about in the bottom row. And then underneath that is the Empress, which can talk about we're kind of ready to give birth to something new emotionally. Kind of like we've learned all the lessons we needed to learn at a phase of life. And if we keep repeating it over and over and over, it's kind of like we're not getting the justice we deserve. And it's maybe kind of creating an illusion. Oh no, I still love living my life like this. Oh no, I love still doing all these things. Oh no, I love living my life like this. But it could seem more superficial and shallow, is what the Seven of Cups can talk about. And it could be that you're not moving forward, giving birth to something new, more out of fear, insecurity, or codependency, or lack of confidence in yourself or something. And you could have people in your life who don't want you to move forward in life differently. And, then we'd have to communicate our truth to those people. I do want to live my life differently. And some people work through it to take that cup of love to emotionally invest in maintaining balance within themselves, getting kind of clear about what their truth is and their truth isn't, and kind of standing up for their truth to some people in their life that I'm not repeating this pattern anymore. And then we have the Ten of Swords. I'm closing out this pattern. And I am not going to keep staying in like my fear and my insecurity. I am going to move forward in a more emotionally balanced, loving way to get the justice I deserve and heal. Because the people who did that work, they've changed. And underneath that is the Five of Pentacles, which can be, we've all lived our life at different phases of life. We were all these different ages. We were in these different jobs. We were in these different friendships and relationships. Was it just and fair for us to probably maybe to a degree be in those, live our life that way? Yeah, because that's how we did think and feel, and how we viewed life, and how we viewed ourselves, and how we viewed others, and you know. But the fives can talk about change. We don't stay the same. And some people have a harder problem with change because, again, right before the change card is the Four of Swords, which talks about reflecting on the truth. Am I going to stay where I'm at? Maybe moving forward in something where I kind of feel heartbroken is what the Three of Swords can talk about. But I'm going to stay there, maybe hoping other people will change. But if we've already been in relationship with people, and again, could everything have been good for quite a long time? Yeah. But when one person could have been ready to move forward in life a little differently, the other person could have been like, oh no, that's scary. I don't want to do that. There might be things they don't want to become independent of. If we're living our life a certain way, we have all these things that are part of our life. Ways we think, ways we feel, our habits, our patterns, our vices, who we hang out with, what we do. And in order to give birth to something new, you kind of have to let go of something. So again, it's like looking at all the things that kind of make up your life and see kind of what are the good building blocks to take with, what are the things I should leave behind that I've kind of learned don't really work with moving my life forward. And if I am Sagittarius energy, fire sign energy, inspired to kind of want to keep going on the journey of my life, believing in myself, believing in my dreams. At the end of the story of the top row, we have the Six of Swords, which is Aquarius energy working through this mental conflict, because the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. I've worked through all this mental conflict I have. There's things I could like about my life and people in my life and vices and habits and patterns and jobs and friendships, but I have a dream. And if I keep doing this, and if how I'm living my life isn't moving my life forward, and the people I'm hanging out with, or certain habits or patterns and vices that I have, is kind of keeping me stuck, people start to do this work within themselves to kind of like, why do I keep letting all these things stop me? And the devil can represent our fears and our insecurities, but the devil also, like in a normal Rider-Waite tarot deck, looks just like the Lover's card, except in the Lover's card, there's an angel there, and the people are free, independent, working together with each other. But in the Devil card, they have chains and shackles on them. So the devil can be that there is love there, but something about it seems restricting or confining or oppressive or limiting, where you can't maybe shine your authentic light or be more independent. Because some other people could have some fears about other people being more independent or shining their authentic light, because maybe they don't. And maybe they have people in their life that are like, you shouldn't do that. And so then they don't do that. And then whatever they could have that manipulates them, they want you to let it manipulate you too. And it's like, those things don't manipulate me the way they maybe manipulate you. I want to move forward. This is Libra energy. This is Cancer energy. And the Chariot can talk about that things are balanced. And Libra can talk about things are balanced. I want it to be just and fair. Love is to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And sometimes some people can have some people in their life that have a little problem being just and fair or treating other people the way they like to be treated. A shadowy empress, someone, male or female, the feminine figures can talk about how people think and feel. Some people are like, nope, I don't want to do that. Nope, I don't want to do anything different. Nope, I don't want to face my fears. Nope, I don't want to move forward. Nope, I don't want to be more just and fair. No, I don't want to reflect on the truth. If I have past pain, heartbreak, fear, insecurities, people, and things that manipulate me, I do not want to see the truth of it. Because if they were to speak the truth and stand up for the truth and all those things, there could be other people in their life who wouldn't like it. And you kind of have to be willing to kind of go through a period of feeling left out in the cold, is what the Five of Pentacles can talk about. To stand up for yourself. I think this is unjust and unfair. I think this is limiting or oppressive or confining, or we're not giving birth to anything new here. I don't think it's just and fair. It might look victorious in a lot of ways. The Empress can talk about these things of the abundance. The Devil can talk about these things of the world that seem abundant. The Chariot can stand for meaning that things look victorious and successful. And in a lot of ways, from a worldly sense, things could look very victorious and successful. But do I like this job? Do I like the people I work with? Do I like the people I'm in friendship or relationship with? Am I willing to stand up for my truth, communicate my truth to people? There's things about this I don't like. And sometimes you can communicate that to people and other people are like, I don't give a damn. And sometimes some people just try to manipulate people's more loving nature. Well, I think you love me. And you're supposed to indulge me in my poor behavior. And eventually people can do that for a long time, but it causes them a lot of inner conflict. It causes them a lot of mental conflict. They want things to change, but we can't make other people change. If they are wanting to be indulged, that could be a shadowy Empress. If they're more about things they indulge in, or money or materialism is more the driving factor for why they want to be in the friendship or the relationship, if that's their truth, they're probably never going to change. The more shadowy someone is, prideful, stubborn, manipulative, deceptive, prideful, egotistical, intimidating, controlling, whatever, odds are, if we were to look back on any kind of lesson that we learned in our life where it was like, oh my gosh, I finally see the truth of it. I got to quit doing that, or that's not working for me, or whatever. That could take years. So the more shadowy someone is, if you have a dream you want to bring into reality, high vibe energy is about being a good leader in the world. And there could be some people in your life that, you kind of have moved away from. And some of those people could know that you have love for them, but you're not going to indulge them in poor behavior. Well, they in turn might have people in their life that they love, and they kind of indulge those people in their poor behavior. It's like, well, you keep indulging them. And yes, I can have love for you, but I'm not going to live a life of illusion. That's the Eight of Cups walking away from the Seven of Cups. I'm not going to create the illusion this is more just, fair, balanced, loving than it is. Not anymore. I could have been willing to do that for a long time out of love for some people. But that's kind of a disservice to everyone. Help contributing to create an illusion that someone is more mature, more stable, more grounded, more loving, less materialistic, less selfish, less bossy, whatever, right? We're contributing to creating an illusion. High vibe energy is learning those lessons to grow up and mature yourself, temper your more immature egoic nature, and then you really are who you say you are. And some people are not who they try to present themselves to be in the world. So I think right now there is some shadowy people in the world who they could be very materialistically in the Queen of Pentacles focused or very codependent and want other people to be codependent on them. And they have no intention of detaching from that way of living life. If other people love themselves, heal, grow and heal and mature themselves and want to move on, they can move on. They're going to go find someone else who is more about the world, more about them, will indulge them, or they'll indulge that other person. Because for some people, the most important thing is it to either be about them or these things of the world. The Five of Wands can be that people are very competitive in the world. And, some people, the Five of Pentacles can be that they don't feel like they have enough. Some people have more than plenty, and it's still not enough, because that's like the devil, right? I need more attention. I need it to be more about me. I need more status. I need more money. I need more people like me. Okay, you like me, but I need these people like me. I need more people like me. Kind of shadowy Sagittarius is people who are immature, and they're going to go on a journey to learn some more lessons that some other people have already learned. Other people got out of maybe some of their more codependent nature, being so manipulated by the world, by their fear, by their ego, by their codependent nature, and they learned to love themselves. And those people aren't the same people that they could have been when they took that job, got in that friendship, or got in that relationship. And they're moving on. They're going on to the next level of the video game of life. And while they do that, it's like they successfully completed a cycle. At every stage of life, there's lessons to learn. And if we learn those lessons, then in the Five of Pentacles, we detach from the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles can be where we were holding on to this certain way of living life and viewing life and all these habits, patterns, and vices because we didn't want to let go. Or that's where we were at. But other people did invest in emotionally growing and maturing themselves and maybe getting more balance within themselves. The Empress is Taurus and Libra. And we all initially in our fire sign energy can be pretty caught up in these things of the world, and we want to look victorious and successful in the world, and we're kind of maybe competitive, and we want to be in friendships and relationships, which is what Taurus can talk about. We want all these things of the world. We want to get the justice. We want to manifest the things we want to manifest. We want to be in friendship or relationship. But when we're kind of imbalance, which is what the bottom row of being a little more shadowy can mean, is we're more kind of manipulated by those things of the world, our want for those things. And it might be a fear that what if I don't take this job or stay in this friendship or stay in this relationship? Maybe I won't find another good job, friendship, or relationship. And so we can keep staying in something, trying to maintain balance within it and keep moving forward. But we could keep having a lot of inner conflict and kind of feel like it could be abundant in these things of the world that we want, but it's maybe not as abundant in other ways where people are maybe more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and being loving and encouraging and supportive of people to step outside your comfort zone, face your fears, believe in yourself, love yourself. If other people haven't learned to love themselves and get more balance within themselves, they don't want other people to love themselves and get more balance within themselves. If they make their life and their primary reason for wanting to be in a relationship is out of fear or codependency, they could do a lot of hurtful and unkind things to try to stop other people from loving and believing in themselves. So they'll keep looking to them as like a source of comfort and not really realizing those people really kind of don't have their best interests. This works for me. It's good for my ego, my image, my status. But I really don't want you, because I don't want to kind of grow and heal and mature myself. So I don't want you to either. And eventually people kind of see the truth of it. And they realize their dreams aren't going to come into reality. Being in relationships with people who are more about themselves, want to be in the relationship more for these worldly reasons because they want to be in a relationship based on truth and love. And eventually they work through all the inner conflict and kind of see how maybe in their ego nature and their worldly nature is what keeps them in it. And they don't want to let their more worldly egoic nature or be their more loving nature to keep being manipulated. That's not how loving people should treat you. Try to manipulate your loving nature, right? And so eventually the other people move on. Let's go up to the top row. So they kind of see through the illusion. They thought they were the Seven of Cups of Scorpio energy. Some people got in more mismatched relationships. Some of their relationships are on the same page, and together they and those people and other people in the world that they don't even know that are going through this, other people are moving forward in life. High vibe Seven of Cups is that people wanted a more deep, meaningful relationship. How can you have a more deep, meaningful relationship with someone who's more about themselves? Manipulative, controlling, more for the ego and the image and the money, more for the status, more out of fear and codependency. You can't. They have to learn to love themselves, to work through their own fears and insecurities, to get more balance within themselves and deal with some of their own inner conflict, past pain, heartbreak, whatever, to become independent of it. And some of those people will never do that. And they have no interest in doing that. Why would I do that? This is good. Let's keep doing this. Looks good by worldly standards, or this is more about me. I like it being more about me. Why would I want to change that? Who are the people who have the most conflict about change? Probably the people who benefit from it not changing. Who most wants it to change? The people who don't feel like they're benefiting as much as the other people are benefiting. They don't think it's just and fair. And some people are like, well, to hell with you. You go then. I think this is just and fair. And it's like, same way if you're at an employer and an employer is like bossy and controlling and intimidating and not paying people what they're worth. Well, the people who have the means or just decide, I have hope and faith and belief in a higher power. If somebody's creating a little hell on earth, that means, I think, loving energy, again, because we live in a world of duality, you have free will choice. You can pick this or you can pick that. And if people are creating a little hell on earth, that means someone else is creating a little heaven on earth. And the people who decide, and that can be like high vibe Taurus is walking the talk of what they profess to believe, I'm going to put some faith. I have more to work with than just these things of the world. I have my creative nature, my inspired nature, my own unique talent, skills, and interests. And I think in a world of duality where there's shadowy and loving, I'm going to go look for some of the more just, fair, loving people in the world to be friends with, to get in relationships with, and to work for. And someone else can get in a friendship or relationship or work at this old job. So, the high vibe people offered themselves that cup of love to get out of something that they had been in, to, in Pisces, have more hope and faith and belief in themselves, and listen more to their loving, intuitive nature than being more manipulated by their fear and their insecurity and their worldly nature, which really makes the devil mad, because the devil kind of is more about the worldly nature. Don't have hope and faith and belief in love. Don't believe there's anything more to aspire to. Make your life about these things. You'll be happy. And people did, and they indulged in those things, and they invested in those things. And then they could have felt like all they had was these things of the world. But what about love? What about people who really wanted to be in a relationship with them because of love? And that's when people realize the devil lies. There's more to the world. And there's more to work with than just our worldly nature. So some people listen to their intuition and they moved away. So the 8, the 9, and the 10 are Sagittarius energy. The 8 is about moving forward. The 9 is kind of feeling wounded and kind of standing up and defending yourself. And you keep offering yourself that cup of love and standing up for yourself, not to indulge kind of poor behavior in yourself and give in to your indulge poor behavior in yourself and others, and keep moving forward, maintaining balance within yourself, keep loving yourself, and eventually you work through all that defensiveness and wounding, and you kind of get to the other side where you're ready to close out a cycle. There's a maximum of 10 in every suit. So when you get to the 10, you're ready to move forward. And normally in a justice card, they're carrying that one sword. You know, you've worked through all the mental conflict too. All the fears, all the insecurities, being up in your head about it, being stressed out about it. You were inspired. High Vibe Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. You stood up for your truth and what you thought was just and fair. And then you kind of looked to see what other people were doing. And some other people just decided to keep indulging or investing in whatever they were investing in. And some of those people, some of the people you know in your life could have been shadowy. Other people, they have their friendships, their relationships, and they could have no problems, but they don't really want to move forward the way you're moving forward. Maybe they can't in their life circumstances of where they're at, but they also might have people in their life who it's like, nope, I don't want you to hang out with them or be friends with them. Those people might make you start to think you want a more just and fair relationship, and I like it just the way it is. And so long as you're not willing to kind of more stand up for yourself and it being more just and fair, then we're going to keep moving forward like this. And that's for those people to make their own free will decision. Just like if you leave a job, it's up for the other people to decide if it's kind of like a bad job or something, for them to work through their own fears and insecurities to decide to move on from it. And everybody has to work through that on their own. You know, when we're kind of ready to stand up for ourselves and what we think is just and fair, and they have their idea of what's just and fair, it's like, well, maybe we harness our Libra energy differently. And maybe in our Sagittarius, you know, things that you're motivated and inspired by that you want to invest your time, energy, and effort into, or make your life about, or make it about you more so. I harness my Sagittarius energy differently. And I do want to go on this adventure and keep learning lessons. And I don't want to keep repeating an old pattern forever where we don't ever give birth to anything new and nobody wants to step outside their comfort zone. And shadowy energy, too, can be where people just emotionally are more about making their life about the world and conforming to the world. And they never really shine their authentic light in the world. So, some high vibe people stood up for themselves, just stood up for what they think is just and fair, maintaining balance within themselves. And then they're walking their talk in their Five of Pentacles, and the Hierophant are both Taurus energy. And again, the Empress is Libra and Taurus. The other people, again, are at a stage of life, and they might stay there all their life. They want to keep giving birth to maybe the same thing, just keep moving forward in that energy. Let's not give birth to anything new. I like this. Let's not face our fears. Let's not get emotionally balanced. Let's not deal with the truth. Let's not heal. We'll just take our inner conflict and maybe our lack mentality with us. And other people are like, no, that's like not my philosophy of life. And I'm going to take action in my life based on my truth, and they can take action in their truth. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which represents all having that new beginning. Dropping the burden, dropping the defensiveness. You've worked through all of it and inspired in your Ace of Wands energy to have a new beginning in all three of your fire sign energies within yourself. In your Aries, in your Leo, in your Sagittarius. I am ready to probably make some better decisions in your life is what Aries can be. And be a leader in my own life. Where maybe before I deferred too much and codependent on other people. And Leo, loving yourself, believing in yourself, giving yourself the things that you wish other people could have given you, wish other people would have given you. And the King of Cups, taking action from love. Letting love, being inspired by love and balance, learn the truth. The 5 goes to the 6. Each one of the pentacles can be lessons that we learned in life. I lived that phase of life. I could have enjoyed that phase of life, but I don't want to keep, just like I didn't want to stay 18 or 21 or 25 forever. I want to keep moving forward. And, some people could just be more curious people in the world, like to learn things. Other people have no interest in learning things. Not very curious people, and other people are. And some people are not inspired by love. They're inspired by themselves or these things of the world or things they indulge in. In our dualistic nature of our free will, we can either be motivated and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and treating other people the way we like to be treated and looking at life as an adventure, or we can just make our life more about, it's about the world. It's about these things. And if you have these things, why do anything else? Kind of like I kind of view Aquarius energy and high vibe as it can be about looking at life from a higher perspective, but believing there's a higher truth and justice at play in the world. And some people don't. They might try to present themselves like they do, but they may not really believe there is. And if we don't believe there's any higher truth or justice or purpose to being on this planet, well then, human beings are the top dog. And some people think they are the top dog. And maybe, kind of like the devil, if I have these certain traits, characteristics, attributes, looks, money, charm, social clout, blah, 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 that could make people want to be in a relationship with me because I have some of these things of the world that people value. Some people think that I'm the one who should be able to be the more privileged person in the relationship. Well, that's not just and fair. Other people might bring other things that help contribute to that dream being just, fair, loving, creative, and inspired. But they could think that what they have from a more worldly sense is more important than what people could bring that are more creative, inspired, loving, encouraging. Well, I guess we're going to find out what happens with them when they don't appreciate that, because they might not appreciate that within themselves. Other people, high vibe energy is about being more balanced. The 3 of Pentacles can be, do I have my worldly foundation of self? Yes. But I also, in the other 3 of Pentacles, have my intuitive, creative, inspired, loving nature. I want to have a balance in my life. I live in the world like other human beings. I would like some of these things of the world. I would like friendship and relationship and have stability and security and hopefully be in career fields of things that I like and I'm, successful. But I'm not willing to stay in job, friendships, and relationships if I don't love them. And other people are willing to turn their back on that. The devil can be people we're attracted to. Loving, just, fair, creative, inspired people who have more maybe hope and faith and belief in themselves. But if they don't think that they'll have the money, the ego, the image, the status, and believe in themselves and be inspired within themselves to love themselves and invest. I kind of look at the Pentacles also as our own unique talent, skills, and interest. to believe in ourselves, you know, some people are like, no, I'm willing to sacrifice that and that aspect of myself to make my life more about these things and maybe get in relationships with people more for those reasons of the world. And other people, it's like, when is enough enough? You know, for the devil, enough is never enough. And again, some people can be like, I need more money, I need more status, I need more power, I need to be more controlling of you, I need to make it more about me. You know, and other people are like, oh my gosh, you know, how about a little being inspired by love? How about getting a little more balance within yourself and having a little more hope and faith and belief in yourself? And, you know, if you put in work and effort to invest in your own unique talent, skills, and interests, and it's, you know, and again, when is enough enough? Some people could, there's a Bible verse that I think they kind of read at weddings, but it's, you know, if I have all these things of the world, but I don't have love, it's this resounding gong. It's hollow. People can have all those things, think they look victorious and successful and have justice in the world, but people could have inner conflict in moving forward with them in a relationship because, you know, some of them could be full of themselves, some of them are immature, think people should indulge them in a relationship, and it's like other people want more just and fair and balanced relationships. And, you know, again, the more shadowy someone is, the more they don't want a just and fair and balanced relationship. I want to be indulged. I want it to be more about me. And I am not willing to quit making it more about me or these things I indulge in that make me feel better or these things I do that make me feel like I'm living the dream life or something, you know, or these things I make my life about. And it could have forced some other people to really get out of more defensive energy, maybe more codependent energy, to be inspired to love and believe in themselves and realize that, you know, if I don't maintain balance within myself and I kind of indulge poor behavior in myself, there's going to be people in the world that are going to be happy I do and want to be in friendship or relationship with me or hire me for a job. Because if I indulge poor behavior within myself, I'm going to probably indulge it in others. And sometimes some people are very loving people and they're equally out of balance. They have, in their Gemini free will nature, they're very motivated and inspired by love. They think everybody wants to do love. And shadowy people in the world, it's like, that's great. You think that. Come get in a relationship with me. Be my friend. Let's get married. And they're equally tipped out of balance. One person is too loving and giving and doesn't kind of have good boundaries to stand up for what's just and fair because they think love is the answer. Well, love is the answer, but love is also to be just and fair. You can be loving and encouraging to people, but if other people don't seem to reciprocate it and be inspired by love and to do equal give and take with you, then temper. Sagittarius is represented also by the Temperance card. Temper yourself. See the truth that you have to have kind of the same philosophy of life as what Taurus talks about. Are you motivated and inspired by love or are you not? And for some people, again, they're like, no, I want to create the illusion I'm that so people will come get in a relationship with me. And I'll try to create the illusion I'm more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and that your dreams will come into reality with me. But they're really more inspired in all three of their fire sign nature by the world in shadowy Taurus energy. And then they kind of wear a false mask and exchange resources with people in a relationship. But the truth of what drives and motivates them to try to bring that dream into reality is different, and eventually in a more mismatched relationship the other people see it. the kings can talk about, it can be how anybody can present themselves in the world. When we kind of go take our worldly vessel out in the world, we're kind of in our worldly egoic nature. That's a feminine figure that talks about how we think and feel. What is their philosophy of life? What is their truth and what drives and motivates them? And some emotionally are more, I want to look like a shining star in the world. I really want it to be more about me, but I'm not going to tell them that, and I'm going to wear a false mask. And the other people are really inspired by truth and love, trying to bring that dream into reality. And eventually they realize someone's kind of wearing a false mask, that they're kind of hiding behind their maybe self-protective, defensive nature, or just more about the world. And that's when some people realize, I need to become independent of these people if I want my dream to come into reality. And the people in my life who are motivated and inspired to work together with me, authentically motivated and inspired by love, treat other people with love, motivated to be in loving relationships, have a philosophy of life that it is about being just and fair and treating other people the way you like to be treated and doing equal give and take. Those are the people my dream can come into reality with. So I think the more shadowy people in the world try to hide. Shadowy people can try to present themselves as a high vibe person. Oh, yeah, no, I've learned some of those same lessons as everybody else. Oh, I'm not more immature. No, I'm not more about myself. No, I'm not stubborn or prideful or bossy or controlling, or I don't hide behind my ego. I'm not more superficial and shallow. Blah, blah, And that's why we also have to learn to maintain balance within ourselves. We can all be tempted in our worldly nature. Be willing to get to know people and then maintain balance so you're equally connected in with your emotionally intuitive nature, which I believe was given to us as a gift to help us navigate in this world, since people can wear false masks. And take the lessons that you've learned from other experiences throughout your life. And when people show you they have certain traits and characteristics, that's like, oh, yep, I've already known people like you. And again, I'm not going to try to change people anymore. It's kind of getting out of your ego. If they show you, oh, I'm immature, oh, I'm bossy and controlling, oh, I'm kind of manipulative, oh, I'm kind of full of myself, it's like, bummer. I could have liked you, I could have been attracted to you, but yeah, no. I'm going to keep standing up for my truth, knowing my worth and value, love myself, believe in myself, keep walking my talk, and you'll probably go get in a relationship with someone else that's hasn't learned those kind of lessons in life about people like you that maybe might try to change you, and you probably never will. It's like I want to be in relationships with people who are already walking that talk, that is their truth. It's kind of like, if you had the emotional maturity of someone who seemed like a stable, grounded, emotionally mature 35-year-old, you could meet other 35-year-olds, but they have like the emotional maturity level of a 21-year-old, and you see by the things that they do and how they act and behave and live in their life, which could be like when you were like a 21-year-old, and it's like, yeah, I'm not really interested in living like the 21-year-old life anymore. And if that's, can you get to know people and maybe over time they'll change, but it's kind of like keeping people in the friend zone until they do. I don't want to get more emotionally invested in someone, because the high vibe people really do emotionally invest in people. And I don't want to get more emotionally invested in someone who shows me that they have these ways of being that I already know. That's not where I'm living my life at. That's not the stage of life I'm at. And I'm going to keep taking action, to work more with the people who do seem to be more on the same page. I can be encouraging in the Page of Wands to other people. I can know all sorts of people. We can have all sorts of people in our world who are social acquaintances that we can hang out with, visit with. Am I going to get in a more involved relationship with them? No. Some of those. So, I think the shadowy people are hiding, that they've already had people who are in more high vibe energy who moved on from them, and they don't want the people they're in a relationship with to know that. They might it's kind of like some of them are in denial because some people are so entitled that they can do these shadowy things and they still feel justified doing it. But then they might put all their more shadowy traits on the other people. And maybe even play the Five of Pentacles, that I have all this inner conflict and I feel rejected and it makes me defensive. And that can be part of their ploy to get people to get in a relationship with them. And then well, that's great. But the whole thing is they never do this work within themselves to grow up and mature themselves. And that relationship lasts as long as it lasts until the other people kind of start to realize why the other people left. You portray yourself as a certain type of person, but you're defensive to actually being more inspired within yourself by love to work through whatever it is that manipulates them to get more balance within themselves and have more hope and faith and belief in themselves, in others, and in love. And the pattern just keeps repeating over and over again. And they harness these energies in a more shadowy way. So let's go see what they are. Let's just flip them all over and then I'll tell you. The King of Wands in reverse, so that can just mean they're not inspired within themselves to work through whatever things manipulate them. And it could be the King of Wands is Aries energy, which is about the self. Anybody in their Aries nature of self can be more just about themselves. And in reverse, it can mean extreme. So some people are very much more about themselves, And the Three of Cups can be that they use their emotions more manipulatively. In the Seven of Pentacles, I kind of view the sevens as the tipping point, that they are more emotionally manipulated by the world or this worldly view of life. And in the Page of Pentacles, they could just be kind of immature and codependent. And they just try to balance out their emotions. They could really align with their more worldly nature. But because they haven't learned to love themselves, they can try to get in relationships with people who in all three of their water sign nature within themselves, their Cancer, their Pisces, their Scorpio, just anybody in the world who has a little more hope and faith and belief in themselves and in love. And in the Ace of Pentacles is motivated and inspired, to have more hope and faith and belief in love. And so those are the type of people who can put a lot of work and effort into a relationship to try to make it work and make it be more just and fair and balanced and loving. But that isn't the truth of who they are in the Temperance card of their own Sagittarius energy. In their free will, that is not what they have chosen to align with within themselves. They aren't inspired kind of within themselves to work through all the things that could manipulate you, to free yourself from those things, because that's what the devil's about. Freeing yourself from all these things that manipulate you. And some of them, just don't have inspiration within themselves to really kind of want to put in work and effort. The 7 plus the 1 pentacle would make the 8 of pentacles, which is about putting in this work and effort to try to, in temperance, kind of balance out your emotions and maybe kind of wrap your brain around this game of life and maybe work through your inner conflict and maybe your past pain and heartbreak and maybe your own lack mentality. And, it's kind of like people who want reward without effort. And so they never put in the work and effort to work through all these different things. And so then it can be looking to get in a relationship with someone to be the answer to their problems, or go make their indulge in things like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I'm sure that'll make me feel better, or that'll make me look a certain way in the world, or I'll have a certain status or image in the world. They balance out their emotions about the fact that they are uninspired to put in work and effort to heal, probably, to get more balance within themselves. And they could just be codependent, which is just looking to something outside of yourself to be the answer. But they're not seeing that the answer lies within them. It doesn't lie outside of them. But of course, the devil can try to tell us, no, drink this, eat this, gamble this, get in a relationship with this, have sex with this, have this money, have this status, all those things. That's the answer. That'll make you happy. And some people just lack wanting to even get to the truth, because again, the truth sets you free. But some people cannot want to see the truth. Not inspired by love, not inspired to really put in work and effort. They get in relationships with people who might be more inspired by love because that just makes them feel more balanced within themselves. Somebody is being loving and encouraging to them, so that helps them feel better. Well, that always keeps them in codependent energy. What if there isn't someone around to play that role in your life? We are meant to invest in playing that role within ourselves. In high vibe, the Empress in Taurus and Libra is being inspired to love ourselves. Offer love to our own foundation of self, to have some hope and faith and belief in ourselves. Look at life from a higher perspective. Put things in perspective. Work through our mental conflict and our lack mentality. Not everything works out the way we want. But to be inspired to wrap their brain around this game of life. I don't want to have to keep having to look for someone to love me or validate my worth and value or be encouraging and supportive. We can be encouraging and supportive within ourselves. That's high vibe Leo. Instead of being in our ego and sad or depressed and looking for other people to love us. When we're looking outside of ourselves for the answer, it might be more so when the answer won't appear. Because that would just be kind of like a crutch or something. And so it can keep getting worse and worse, to realize that the things I'm investing in aren't moving my life forward. The things I look to be the answer causes more problems for me. When am I going to see the truth that these things aren't the answer? And some of the people in my life might be more full of themselves. They could harness this energy in a shadowy way. Other people could have maybe a little more hopeful, believing spirit, but then they get in relationship with other people. The Page of Pentacles can kind of be willing to be a student in life, but you have these lessons to learn. They can get in relationships with people who present themselves as more just and fair and loving, like, I will love you. You should move forward with me. Your dreams will come into reality. And you move forward with them and you kind of in that more codependent energy. And can they be very loving and encouraging maybe for quite a long time? Yeah. But then as you maybe do heal and grow and mature yourself and work through some of your past pain and heartbreak, your lack mentality, maybe hoping they'd feel proud of you. And then you do that, and it's kind of then maybe you've learned how to play that role in your own life, and you could think they'd be proud of you, and then they don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. Because some people want, that's the kind of relationship dynamic they want. I want to be in a relationship with people who maybe don't love and believe in themselves. I want to be in a relationship with people who are looking for someone to love them. I will love you. I will act and present myself as loving, and they could, and even if people had ill intention just being in a relationship with people, even if they are more about themselves, more about the ego and the image, people can thrive in that environment because at least it's kind of being a loving and encouraging environment. But then they don't like the fact that you're not in shadowy energy anymore, that you've gotten more emotionally balanced within yourself, that you've learned to love yourself, you've worked through your inner conflict, your mental conflict, you're ready to move forward in life differently. And they're like, well, shit, I didn't think that was ever going to happen. Well, no, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. I'm going to go find someone else who, because again, shadowy people are looking for people who they think will be more codependent on them. And they want them to stay more codependent on them. And if those people have certain things of the world, attractive, charming, loving, but maybe lack some hope and faith and belief in themselves, yeah, there'll be people who want to get in a relationship with you. And it's part of the journey of life. And, these lessons that we learn can be really painful in the Ten of Swords and the Devil. But it's all part of the journey. And it all could have forced people to be less manipulated in their worldly nature and be more inspired to listen to their more intuitive nature and to love and believe in themselves and appreciate what they bring to the table. And then they could realize, I do think I deserve a more just and fair and balanced relationship. Where maybe before, again, we'll all repeat old patterns. And if we're not used to being in relationships with people who are more just and fair and loving, and we're kind of used to indulging people in some way and, I'm sure they'll change. We got to go through that phases of life to realize I'm done trying to change people. And I think I've come to realize I do deserve to be in a more just and fair and balanced relationship. And that's when they go out in the world to try to find people who they think are more on that same page. And so anybody could be at any stage depending on life experiences, how old they are. And some of the people we get in friendship and relationship with, we help each other work through it, and we're all kind of willing to see what things need to go and what things we should move forward with, and we kind of keep moving forward in those friendships and relationships. Now, for some people who are moving forward, there could have been, as you get out of one job, friendship, or relationship, then, you're kind of moving forward, meeting other people. You could meet some people, you could have communicated with some people, and making more of a gesture towards people who you kind of think are more on the same page as you. And, again, it's kind of more like I can know people, be loving and encouraging and supportive of people, kind of keep them in the friend zone. And hope that some of those people, if I feel they need to do some of that work within themselves, or they're not taking action towards me, we could wait and be patient for quite a while. But eventually, it's kind of like our loving, intuitive nature says, it's time to move on. You know, we can keep hoping other people that we would like to be in relationship with or would take action towards us to, if they're not taking action towards us, to work together with us and invest in us, then again, we kind of need to get out of our ego, balance out our emotions about it, that, God's got a different plan for our life. God wants us to have our dreams come into reality, but, until we get out of our ego about thinking, well, no, God, I think it should be them. Come on, that person. And God's like, that person isn't taking action towards you to work with you or make you an offer. Well, I know. Come on. Go. And it's like, you can stay there all you want. You can keep having inner conflict, keep thinking it'd be just and fair, keep feeling left out in the cold, or you can get out of your ego and you can keep walking your talk, keep being open, because ultimately the divine does know the truth of where everybody's at. The divine knows ultimately what you want to manifest in your life. And if you keep moving forward in an energy of being inspired by love, maintaining balance within yourself, looking at life from the higher perspective, you will be not living in illusion, and you will be moving forward in your life. The Eight of Cups generally is shown as moving forward to have these new beginnings, giving birth to what you want, not staying in your ego about people who might be in other friendships or relationships with other people or doing whatever they're doing. And you have these new beginnings. And then, as time kind of goes by, you really kind of value what you've created for yourself. And you might think, I don't even know if any of those people in my life that I might have been interested in before, if they were to even want to come towards me, I don't even know if I'd want to be in a friendship or relationship with them more, because, I don't know, maybe, you meet other people that it's kind of like, no, I think these people are more on the same page as me. What's coming up for some people who might harness some high vibe Sagittarius? And some people are coming with you, and you could be in relationships or marriages. It's just that some other people probably won't. What's coming up you don't see coming? The Two of Swords. Why? Because of the Seven of Swords. Well, the Seven of Swords can be that this is like the Justice card holds the one sword. And then here we have the Six of Swords, and then we have the Seven. As you keep moving forward, in high vibe, the Seven of Swords is that you're listening to your intuition. And the Two of Swords can be about listening to your intuition. And the Mountain in that card is like not letting any... It's kind of like the devil, and there can be other people in our life who keep trying to put obstacles in front of us to stop us from moving forward. And sometimes there can be people who aren't taking action to be more in a relationship with you because you're standing up for truth and justice and love. Now, if you would come back and turn your back on that and come back and want to do the relationship in a more worldly, shadowy way, yeah, then they'd be willing to get in a relationship with you. But as long as you're in that energy, yeah, no interest in that. Only if you'll do a more shadowy or more codependent or make it more about them. So, kind of seeing the truth of that. If people were motivated and inspired to work together with me in a more just and fair way, acting with character and integrity, they would. And if they're not, it might be some of them are in their own relationship doing that. But other people, it's because they don't want to be in that kind of relationship. And as you keep moving forward, listening to your intuition, keep staying focused on truth and love to guide you, you go from the Seven down to the Two, which is letting go of the Five of Swords, of your mental conflict about some people at one time that you thought were more on the same page as you, and realizing they're not. and kind of realizing your dream couldn't come into reality with them anyway. Because unless they're more balanced and inspired by love to do more equal give and take, your dream couldn't come into reality with them anyway. And that's when you get out of your mental conflict about those people. And then from the 6 down to the 2, it's letting go of the 4 of Swords. There could have been some people you would have wanted to heal a relationship with, or maybe some people you thought were just and fair. And you kind of get to where you maybe realize, you work through it. And again, if there's people in your life that you were hoping would be more just and fair, that would get out of being more about themselves or the world or whatever they indulge in or whatever, and would invest more in truth and love, and they keep not doing it, it's kind of like you work through the illusions you had about those people. Maybe at one time some people were more just and fair and loving and encouraging, but anytime going down the path of life, people can kind of drift their life off into the ditch, and they've kind of got their own lessons to learn. Really, other than the 1 cup, we don't... Oh, here we had the 3. Then we go down to the 1, which can also be kind of realizing in our Cancer energy of love, what we love is different, or they love someone else. And we have to get out of our ego about it. And all of that will set you free to become independent of it and move forward with the people in your life that do work together with you that way, and being happy. Because you've had this new inspired beginning working with people who are also listening to their intuition, who have also detached from ways of living life or viewing life or people, in relationships with other people who kind of have the same dream as you. People your dreams can come into reality with. So, what's coming up? For people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming up. The 9 of Swords. Why? Because of the 2 of Wands. So the 9 of Swords is Gemini energy of our dualistic nature. The truth is some people live a lot more from their mind than their heart. Over here in a couple places we talked about Libra, which is also air sign energy like Gemini, and so is Aquarius. Some people do just live more from their mind than their heart. They could have a lot of inner conflict about getting more balanced and kind of connecting in, even with their emotions. People can choose to, I don't really want to invest in that. Will I invest in other people who are kind of motivated and inspired by love? Yeah. Do I really want to invest in that? No. And they could view love as a danger zone, and, we're emotionally complex human beings, and some people just decided it is too confusing. I just don't really want to connect in with myself, even emotionally. I like to live more from my mind than my heart, not inspired to connect in with my emotions. Kind of more use... That's the 3 of Cups, where people use their emotion. They can use their emotions more manipulatively in a relationship, but then they can use everything more. We were given all these gifts to learn to work with. And some people don't choose to invest in some of them. I'll just use those things manipulatively. I'll use my looks, my charm, my words, my emotional nature, my sexual nature, my money, my status. It's just all to use them manipulatively. Not growing up and kind of maturing yourself and being inspired by love and love gives birth to new things, and some people do not want to step out of their comfort zone. That's like the danger zone. So they could be stressed out maybe about if their dream is going to come into reality. Because again, if people had certain ways of acting and behaving throughout their life, when they were younger, Everybody else didn't had all these lessons to learn, right? So can people get away with a lot more shit when they're younger and people will still be in friendship and relationship with them? Yes. But they grow up, and get older just like other people. And the older they get and the more they haven't learned some of these lessons in life, the harder it can be to find people who are willing to be more patient with people when those people show them, oh, wow, you're kind of more immature. Oh, you're more bossy or controlling. Oh, you're kind of more about yourself. Oh, you're more, caught up in yourself or something. People are no longer, less people, they probably have to go maybe get in relationships with younger and younger people in order to find someone who hasn't learned those lessons in life. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just like you're my age, but you're like 20 or 30 years older. you know? Um, and for some of the people that are shadowy right now, they probably are trying to get someone to not listen to their intuition, trying to convince them that their dreams will come into reality with them, and could even be kind of indulging someone in a relationship, because that also is kind of shadowy Taurus philosophy of life, that it is just about wanting to be in friendship or relationship, wanting to have these things of the world, and either being the person who's indulged or indulging someone else in order to have those things. And that is how some people think. And if they have more of the things of the world, then they think people should indulge them. If there's someone they want to be in a relationship with that they feel has more of those things of the world that they want, then they'd be willing to indulge them. And that could be a strategy that someone has. They're really more about themselves because, again, the Two of Wands in their Aries nature within themselves, they could be more about themselves and more codependent energy could be, I definitely want to be in a relationship, because some people could think that says something about their worth and value, or maybe they make sex really important, so they definitely want to have a sex partner. But they want the status and image in the world. And so they could really be trying to get someone to move forward with them in a relationship. But if the more high vibe people in their life are going to listen to their intuition, and it's like, I don't think you're authentically motivated by love. I think it's a lot of these other reasons, and they're going to move on. And then these people have to go try to find someone else because they're defensive to being more just and fair or truthful or authentic or loving in a relationship. Or they're codependent and they don't want to step out of their comfort zone because they have friends or family or something that they're codependent on. And they're trying to find someone else who will be manipulated by those same things or people and live life like that. And that's not working with people cooperatively to give birth to something new. It's like they create the illusion, oh, I'm willing to give birth to something new. Oh, but we're not going to do anything different. We're going to do this. It's really kind of more my way. Right now, they could be really stressed out if they're the people in their life who are more maybe emotionally balanced and loving are listening to their intuition. And they could be trying to figure out how to get out of the relationship. And what's important to shadowy people more so is their status and image, because that's what they have to offer people, because they don't really do love. So it's always to try to backstab the other people to make people think those people weren't just and fair and loving and encouraging people, and maybe play the wounded victim and try to get someone else to get in a relationship with them. Probably more out of ego. And some of those people get in relationships more out of ego. They could even get in relationships with people they don't even want to be in a relationship with. But it can be to get in relationships with people to try to get the loving people who they know love them to come back and do the relationship with them. And then if the loving people keep moving on, well, shit, then they got to get out of that relationship with the people that they were just using as pawns to try to manipulate someone else. Such a tangled web they weave. It's so much easier just to go with the flow and listen to love and intuition, but other people think, no, no, no. No, 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 I'm smart. I think I can control and manipulate the whole situation. And that, again, could be some people who are full of themselves. Why not work together with people in a just and fair and loving way and just go with the flow? But that, to them, they could fear that's just a danger zone where they could get manipulated, so they're not willing to do love. So they'll probably keep doing this. And while they keep doing that, other people will get in relationship, learn lessons from them. Those people will have to decide for themselves if they're okay with this kind of relationship. And if they are, wonderful. That is a just and fair relationship. They're both on the same page. What's not just and fair is for them to try to lie and deceive and wear a false mask and present themselves as something that they're not. And then I don't think the shadowy people in a way really like to be in a relationship with someone like themselves. Because who's loving? Who's authentically loving? Maybe no one. And even if they get in a relationship with someone who's loving, in a way they don't like that because they have to kind of maintain this illusion about who they are. And it's not the truth of who they are. And then they can want to get out of it because they really want to go be more immature and act some other way. Live your authentic truth. Tell people the truth. Don't try to deceive and manipulate people. You wouldn't think it's that hard, but for some people it is, because really it's just how it benefits me. I want the status and the ego and the image, and I want people to love me and indulge me like I love and indulge myself. But I want you to view me that way too. It's like the devil wanting to be viewed like God. So it doesn't want to tell people they're the devil. No, I want you to buy into the illusion and really boost my ego when people buy into the illusion of who I am and think I'm this just and fair and loving person. And then when they see through the illusion, I backstab them. And then I go to find someone else and I redo it all over again. There you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.